I'll tell you about those in the morning. Good morning. I guess you're wondering, I showed you lights last night and a picture of the trail. Lord have mercy. I got to the shelter last night and I was going down to the spring, and the spring was a quarter of a mile from the shelter, and I saw this huge, humongous tent pitched with a tarp over it and solar panels outside of it. And there's an older guy, probably in his early 70s, had a little gut, sitting out there by a fire and using a box, as a table to eat his food that he'd just fixed in his frying pan off the fire. And I walked up, I said, "Is this the way to the spring?" He said, "Yeah, but it's a long ways down there." He said, "It's a long ways down there." And he said, "I got some water if you want some to get you through tonight." And I said, "I'd love to have some." So anyway, we got talking. I said, "Lord have mercy." I said, "You got solar panels?" He said, "Oh, come here and look at this." He had a TV in there, a little TV he could watch. I said, "Do you get reception up here?" He said, "Well, I watch movies on it." And he had a big old Coleman air mattress with the supports up underneath of it, and that thing screened in porch on his tent. And I said, "My gosh." I said, "Are you vacationing?" He said, "Well," he said, "I do this about every year." He said, "It took me 18 hours to go 2 miles. He had a wagon in there with rubber wheels that he was using for a table for his TV, DVD player thing. And he said, "I put it all in that wagon. I had my backpack on with my food, had his ice cooler in his wagon." He said, "It took me 18 hours to get up here, but," he said, "I'm up here." He said, "I was going to camp for a couple days and then I'm going back to the house." And I said, "Well," I said, "that's one way of doing it." I said, "My gosh." I said, "Well, at least you won't have to go for a stress test." I said, "Because if you drug all that up through here, you passed your stress test." I said, "I'd have had a heart attack." He said, "Oh, it was hard." He said, "I'd station stuff here and there up trail and I'd walk back and get it. And then I'd go get a little bit more." We talked for a little bit. He's a pretty good old feller, just wanting to get out and camp a little bit. And I said, "Well, told him, I said, one of my friends back home, I told him that he needed to go camping some, but he said he wouldn't go camping without his idea of roughing it was a black and white TV, And I said, "Well," I said, "at least you got color TV, solar panels, charging." Said would have to, he had lights strung up at nighttime where he could see around his camp. And he did hang his bear bag. He had it hung. So I guess he's glamping it, could say. I slept pretty good last night. Got a restful sleep. I think I'm only doing about 16 miles today. I'm going to go right before the Lehigh Gap. There's a shelter right before there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the climb out of Lehigh Gap, because by the time I get to the shelter, it'll be right at the end of the day. So I'm just going to leave it to it. But anyhow, it's supposed to be kind of overcast today. They are extended water carries today, probably about I think it's 10 mile, which ain't that bad. We're up here on this ridge. I ain't got much elevation to climb today, about 1,200 foot, so that ain't bad. And going to, it's probably about, if I had to guess, probably about 74, 75 out here. That's probably wrong. I don't have my thermometer. It messed up, but anyway, it feels pretty good. I know I didn't have to put on a coat this morning when I got out of the sleeping bag, so that usually means it's above 60. But anyway, I'll catch you on down the trail. Here's our first view for today. The wind feels good, I know that. We're here.
I know, right? Where'd you start from?
Georgia. Going across the knife's edge here. Gotta go across all these rocks on top of the mountain here. Bake oven knob. Bake oven knob shelter. This one's an old one. Walking along this ridge line here, for once it's pretty good walking. We've had some rock scrambles, had to go up to the knife's edge, and a couple other areas where you just had to go over little rocks and big rocks and all different size rocks. But anyway, going up here to the George Washington Outebridge shelter. It ain't that much farther. We'll be done early today, probably by about 3:30 if I don't fall. It's about 2:30 now. I'm gonna go up here and just relax, refill some water, and then it's real steep going down in the Lehigh Gap. This guy told me, and then he said you got to climb back out of it, so I'll just do that on fresh legs in the morning. So go up here and get me some water. I'm just about out, and chill in my hammock the rest of the evening. Feel it let the breeze blow through my hair. I think we're looking down on Palmerton, Pennsylvania, maybe. Biggest little town down there. This is nice on top of the mountain here before the shelter. We're about 8/10 of a mile from the shelter, but just real neat. It's flat through here. Here's the George W. Outebridge Memorial Shelter. Home sweet home for tonight. Good night, everyone.